Welcome to Jrodconcerts, the podcast live, and we are here with an incredible band, Wildeyes. Max, Emily, Daniel, how you guys doing?
Good.
Great. Had a great day.
So, first of all, I have to say a few things. I'm disappointed that there's no stew. Because you have a famous stew that went viral online.
They ate it. They ate all of it.
I mean, apparently, like,
Stew.
so we
It's
were
viral,
hoping
it's
for some
gone.
stew, but yeah.
Next time.
No, but thank you for the hospitality and everything's
That's
been great.
funny.
Absolutely. And Daniel, congratulations on Open Your Eyes. The single that just came out, really wonderful, and and of course your 2018 album Beauty and Sadness. It's Beauty and Sadness, right?
That's right.
Loved it. I mean,
Oh, thanks.
Sunday is the song that I keep coming back to.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, that's a jam.
Very
Cool.
That is
You
a
know,
fun-
such a deep message, but upbeat and just hopeful and full of light. That's
Wow, thank you.
That's definitely what we're all about.
Awesome.
So Daniel, I mean, we have to talk about where we're shooting here because it is such a stunning place. I mean, we've been many places throughout my career, 16 years, but this is unique and the energy is beautiful. Can you tell us a little bit about what it is?
Yeah, so this was my COVID project. I don't know, was it a month into COVID? And I was going a little stir crazy.
Yeah.
And I just started building it. I didn't drop any plans for it, which is why it's a little bit chaotic, but that's what I kind of love about it.
Right.
So yeah, I would just come out here, throw my headphones on, the world was shut down, and I was just kind of building away. So this is what it ended up being.
Ended up being beautiful. And you create some custom projects, right, as well?
Yeah, once we threw it up on Instagram, some other people wanted me to build them for them, so
Right.
it was
right.
perfect timing because we weren't touring. So
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely great.
yeah.
And Emily, I mean, religion is so important to you guys and missionary work and Wildeyes. I think the music of you guys is so beautiful because I think it's a vessel for like a message that you guys have always tried to deliver. And I mean, some people don't realize that like U2 is like the biggest Christian, band in the world. Like you can use, all their songs when you change the word love, for God, it just all clicks.
That's true.
Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're right,
That
you're
like
right.
Wildeyes, all in a way, is just like a beautiful vessel to spread like a word that you guys grew up with and that is important to you.
Yeah,
That's-
I would say that.
Cool that you noticed that. No one's.
I would say music. A lot of music can be that vessel.
Yeah.
You know, and I would say that with our music, we try to create an open landscape for people to have an interpretation that is positive, but also something that's real and something that they can really grab onto, relate to. You know, that can affect them for the positive.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Emily, I want to talk a little bit about your background because it's so
Okay.
great. I mean, all of you guys have great backgrounds, and we'll touch them. But I mean, you grew up with four sisters,
I did.
right?
I'm
And
the
all of them
oldest.
played the violin.
They did. Yeah.
So I'm just curious, like, how was it like musically in your house? Like when there's,
Yeah.
so many girls just jam into the violin,
I mean, kind of. We would kind of almost kill each other every time we all played together.
Really?
Oh yeah. We were just always catfighting, and it was not a happy time. I mean, it was. Looking back, it's like, oh, we should have been nicer to each other. But I mean, we were little kids, so
Yeah.
we're poking each other and all that. But
Sure.
that was great.
I love
I'm
it.
glad that we did it.
Yeah, totally. And you moved to Nashville, in 2011?
Yes.
So like 11 years ago, whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's great. A lot of people, they hustle, they struggle, but you kind of found success fairly quickly. I
Yeah.
mean, you were touring with Martina McBride and playing the CMAs and thousands of people. How was that, Emily? Because were you like intimidated by it at all, or what? Or did you like embrace it? Did you step into it?
I can't remember. I remember being a little nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember being nervous, but also, I was happy. People were nice. Like the other string players were older, but they were very encouraging.
Sure.
They weren't mean or anything.
Right.
So, yeah, I had a great
You
experience.
had a great experience. I loved it. Love the confidence. And Daniel, of course, you're married to Emily.
Yeah.
Have to ask. I know you talk about this probably every third day. So apologies here, but how did you guys meet?
We actually met. So I played sports in college. And
Basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who she was touring with, and I just played music for fun. And I had made some sort of mixtape or something, and he got his hands on it, and she actually listened to it. And the other people in the band knew who I was as an athlete. She didn't have a clue who I was. So she thought the reason that other people in the band knew my name was because I was some sort of artist that had released records, which was not the case.
Yeah.
So it was further down the line that we actually met, but that was kind of the impetus to the whole thing. I actually wanted to kind of comment on her
Go for it.
playing with Martina and all that.
Yeah, go for that. Sure.
I don't think you're remembering it quite right.
Probably not.
I think that it, on the other side of it, it feels like it kind of just happened. But that actually happened on the tail end of neither of us being able to get any kind of job. She had actually gone into a laundromat to get a job at one point,
I forgot.
and they said they were hiring. And when she went and asked for a job, they were like, "No, we're not hiring." And she actually came home and was like bawling her eyes out because she was like, "I can't get any kind of job here." So we were seriously considering like, maybe she was going to Belmont at the time. We're like, maybe this is not the town for us. And she got a really small gig with a guy who hired her, and the next thing was an audition for Martina. So it went from like desperation to what is happening, and she got that gig. So it was, I would say in a lot of ways, she did pretty quickly get a good gig, but it was on the heels of some pretty serious kind of desperation very quickly when we got to this town. That's not usually how it happens. It can be really, really tough to find anything, So anyways, I just wanted to...
No, thank you for adding that.
I remember that
Very
now.
important context.
Well,
Yeah.
Emily is probably one of the most confident people I know too.
I'm
so
also
like,
very forgetful.
No, that's great.
but those auditions are very nerve-wracking,
Yeah.
and the fact that she aces them every time she does it, it's like, especially like your first one like that.
I'm glad you brought that up, Max, because I have a lot of musician friends here, and like we were talking off camera that one of your colleagues is drumming for a major act now, and this happens all the time, right? Like,
Yeah.
how is that? And any of you can answer. You can answer, Max. When you're auditioning for an A-lister, and they're like, all right, let's see if you got the chops for the
Yeah.
That's not just playing. I know you play, playing in church when you're growing up. It's a little more at stake there. How do you prepare for that?
How do you prepare for it?
Everything.
Well, you just have to learn the parts really well, and then you have to. It's hard. I mean, honestly, I cover the mic soon. It's for me. I'm not that kind of a player. I've done that whole process, and it was a great learning opportunity for me. But I'm really reclusive. I like to just be in a room and write a song.
Yeah.
That's my personality
Yeah.
type. I think for someone like Emily, it's a completely different experience. Like she practices and she just has all the confidence in the world. I'll practice, like I was the kid who practiced for my guitar lesson and I couldn't sleep the night before, and I was just like up all night.
Like,
and like if it wasn't absolutely perfect, even if it was perfect, I was freaked out. Like
Right.
I'm a nervous wreck. So Emily has helped like coach me through a couple opportunities like that, and she's really helped me. But my experience is going to be very different from someone like Emily.
yeah. Thanks for adding that, Mike.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Auditions are a skill, and if you, it's like a test. So I went to college, and I'm always having to like, you have to like do this playing test, or do
just
this,
like
or your
good
audition.
test
I've been
makers.
auditioning
Okay.
for a long time, so it's not.
Interesting.
It's
Yeah,
like a
you
game.
were a performance major. So.
You practice and then you play
Right.
a game. So it's like you practice and then you do the thing. It's a
Right.
muscle.
It's almost like a different thing.
It's a mental toughness. It's like you know how to like click in
Yeah.
and
I
do your
love that.
thing. So and if you don't do it all the time, it's tougher to click in and do
Yeah.
it.
I love that. And Daniel, you mentioned you played basketball and you were pretty good. You didn't have a lot of like the long hair or the facial back then. I saw in the clips, but what transferable like skills, if any, are there like when you play high level basketball with like music?
Yeah, it's a performance,
Yeah.
and it requires a lot of discipline.
Sure.
So I think it's actually very similar in a lot of ways. There's a certain kind of mental space I think you enter in any performance.
Yeah.
And I did it in sports, and it was the performing side of music was not difficult for
Right.
me because I was used to having to display my my skills and creativity in front of a bunch of people my whole life. I think the actual skill, like getting my skill level up to where it needed to be, was it took probably 4 years in Nashville.
Right.
But the discipline of sports helped me with that. I mean, I was able to sit down and play my guitar for 4 hours a day, and
Sure.
that wasn't really an issue.
Right,
so.
just like shooting free throws or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then I have in my family, I have my athletic side, which was my mother, and my musical side, which was my father. And I lived with my mother growing up, so I didn't have the musical influences in the home growing up.
Yeah.
But they were there, So once I started pushing all of that energy into music, there was some level of talent that it was being met with. So it worked,
Yeah, I love it.
Also, when we miss a note, he makes us run suicide.
Yeah.
Is that what happens here? It's like a boot camp.
Yeah, all the way around.
I love it.
An acre you gotta run.
I want to
not too
ask
far
you
from
in a
the truth.
second about the new sound, but I want to ask you, Max, before I forget, about you're a great composer in your own right.
Thank
really,
you.
really enjoyed your stuff, man.
Thank you.
You having like creative outlets as individuals, in addition to being as a band,
Yeah.
that can only help the band, I would imagine, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's a good question. I think the big outlet is the band, but there's a lot more that doesn't get used. So for me, I need to do other things to help kind of fill those voids.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it that well, but if I don't find a place for all the ideas I have, then I'm kind of not healthy mentally, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'm always looking for new ways of doing that.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but the band is like
Yeah.
top priority,
It's your home,
and
sure.
and the best goes to the band.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And Emily, the new sound. I mean, it's so great. And we were talking a little off camera, Daniel, about this, and I love it because, the bands that have longevity, I found these patterns are the ones that take risks and reinvent themselves. But there's a risk.
Mhm.
There's a risk to it because especially in the case of Wildeyes. I mean, you guys. I mean, I think I can say it. You guys perfected a sound which was very friendly, just on research. It felt like coming home to old friends.
Yeah.
And this new sound, it was like, wow. It was like in
Not as
the
friendly.
best way, but that was the experience. It was in
Yeah.
the first few singles.
Yeah.
What was like your feelings as you were like embracing these new colors and auras for the band?
It just came from I just wanted to be louder and more abrasive, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you said, it was a very friendly sound. And when we would go tour, a lot of times, we were around one microphone, and sometimes, people were talking or whatever, and it's like they can't hear us. It's
Sure.
like, oh, I wish I could get louder. So we got really good at kind of like rocking out into the one mic,
Right.
which was fun. It was just, you can only push so much sound out when you're going through one mic. So we kind of already wanted to be louder and to have more energy, and just because it's just fun. I mean, like, slow songs are great, but when you have to do 90 minutes and 40 of it are slow songs, it's like
100%.
so we just had the hunger for that. And then I actually went on tour with this guy named Andrew Hoosier, and I got to play electric guitar.
Yeah.
And that lit my hair on fire. I was
Changed
like,
everything.
it changed everything. I was like,
Right.
wait, it's like I can be loud, like I can be the tiger. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the violin's fun, but you're playing one or two notes at a time, and there's a specific range, sonically that it always kind of falls into.
I love
And
it.
the electric guitar is just like
Yes.
a dynamite, and I was like addicted to
I mean,
that.
look how your eyes are opening
Oh.
and just talking about
Wow.
it. Can't wait to see you guys live. Then.
I
Wow.
mean, I can't wait to see you see us.
Oh
when
my
it is
God.
good. So
Love
yeah,
it.
it's just like once that happened, I was like, we need
Yeah.
that. We need that.
Well, Daniel, look, I think I could talk to you guys for 17 hours, and we don't have them. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
Are you guys gonna play a little song for us?
We
Sure,
will.
we are. Yeah.
Man, that'll be awesome.
Latest single.
Is it too late to have an honest, open conversation? Will you unlock the door before we fall apart? Did I make you righteous? I hold you close, but you're jumping off a cliff. Well, I'll be damned if I won't try. Will you open eyes? Will you open eyes? Will you open eyes? Before you look through me. How we gonna hide this? Avoid the confrontation. The enemies are around, and everyone thinks that nothing can remind us how beautiful the time was. Did I ever get it right? Well, I'll be damned if I won't try. Will you open eyes? Will you open eyes? Will you open eyes? Before you look through me. Oh, before you look through me.
My chills have chills.
Oh, don't do.
Thank you guys. What
Yes.
a unbelievable song.
Thank
And
you.
what a
You're
wonderful-
nice.
Thank you.
You are
You
nice.
guys are amazing. No, you guys
Thanks
are
for having
amazing.
us. Thank you.
It's all.